I welcome everyone. This is the Professional Services Committee meeting. Today is December 1st, 2022. And I feel pretty bad for those of you at the plant right now, because I know you're getting those extra cold, freezing breezes over there. We'll begin with a roll call. Ms. Prater, would you please take care of that?
Representative Kincaid.
Here.
Dr. Gilliam. Sylvia Wilson.
Here. All right, thank you. We do have one item for information today. It's the RFQ WWTP Valuation Appraisal. Ms. Williams.
WWTP. What a wad of toilet paper. That would be wastewater treatment plant. And this particular item speaks to, as it says, appraising the facilities. The last time was, I believe, early 90s. And it's not just that it's a little dated, it's everything that's going on right now. The Director of Finance will speak to this. Karen.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everyone. As Ms. Williams mentioned, the last time we had a full-blown appraisal done was in 1994. So every year for insurance purposes, we need to have a value that we can go out and obtain insurance with. What we've done since 1994 is reviewed that appraisal and provided a consultants the additions and deletions with the assistance of the engineering department. So any major changes, we hope we've provided that information. What this consulting company has done for us is they've taken that value and they've multiplied it by what they believe to be average rate of inflation, and they give us a value. They recommend every 5 years or so that we should go out for a full appraisal, which we think is a little aggressive. So again, this one hasn't been done for 28 years. So we think that it is time for us to go out and have this appraisal completed, and not just for insurance purposes, but to get a good starting point as we are going and we're adding a lot of new capital to the facilities, and it's just really good for us to have a very solid number that we can start from when we're adding to it. If there's questions, I'd be happy to take those.
I just think it makes sense. I am surprised that it hasn't been for 28 years though, but I guess because we've been busy with other things, sometimes things go by the wayside. Okay, we'll move on now into the action items. Item A, the first one is the motion to approve the following short list for the mechanic technical training program. And there are 3, and they are in alphabetical order, which I don't need to read them out right now. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, the committee is aware that we have an in-house apprenticeship program that has been very successful over many years. The need to support that program from an outside service provider has been difficult to procure in quite some time. This will provide for that programmatic support. And the Director of Operations and Maintenance, Douglas, will further elaborate.
Thank you, Arletta. Madam Chair, Representative Kincaid, I came to you in September with an informational item indicating that we would like to solicit qualifications from firms that could provide these training services. I am very pleased that we received 3 proposals. All 3 are what is listed on the short list. We do have familiarity with Community College of Allegheny County. They are our current service provider of training services for other crafts. We're also familiar with the second listed firm, Mindish Industrial Training. They are the incumbent trainer that's provided services for us in the past. And Pennsylvania College of Technology is actually an affiliate of Penn State University. So we believe that we have 3 qualified firms that we would like to solicit formal proposals from. This is the next step in our process. I do owe some information back to Dr. Gilliam, who is not on today's call, with regard to questions that she had regarding the selection of candidates internal that participate in this training. But today, we are asking for your approval of this shortlist. Ideally, we would come back maybe perhaps in February with the one firm of these 3 to provide the services, and then those services would be provided over the next 18-month time period. There are currently 4 mechanics that we have in the apprentice program. At the beginning of 2023, they will finish their first year in the program. During the second and third year is when we typically do this formalized training by a third-party provider, and then the 4th year is much more on-the-job training. So I ask for your approval on the short list with the expectation we will be back after the first of the year. Any questions? I'd be happy to answer.
No, I don't have any questions.
So for these 3, obviously, like Penn Tech is in Williamsport, is and CCAC is here. Is there any consideration for how close these programs are in terms of distance and when we're evaluating them?
So our requirement for this training is all of this training is to be done on site. So whatever additional services and fees are required. So in the past, this is about every 4 or 5 years we do this. So 2019 was the last, 15 was the one before that. We haven't always been successful in getting firms to even provide us with proposals. So for this solicitation, we reached out to local, regional, as well as some national firms and had sent them our RFQ to try to see if we can get any pool of candidates to provide these services. And we were successful in getting 3, but the requirements are all the same. It's all to be done on site at our facility, and those additional fees that perhaps would be for travel and living expenses would all be part of our evaluation.
Okay, and MITS, MITS, or whatever, I don't know if it's which one it goes by, but where is that located?
So their base is in Johnstown,
Okay.
is where they're from. And again, the services, they are the incumbent provider. All of their services that they provided, they've come down here and provided them. So our folks are here, the trainers come here and provide the training. And that's how the arrangement is handled.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, Dr. Gilliam is on. Do you have any information for her now, or you want to give it to her later?
No, I do. So Dr. Gilliam, just so you're aware, we're on the first action item of the agenda, and it relates to the apprentice training program. And I had mentioned before you joined that you had asked for some follow-up information from me that I still owe to you relative to the candidates that are selected to receive this training. So I do still owe that to you, but the ask on the agenda is just simply to shortlist the training provider, not the selection of the internal employee that we have. So I will provide that to you in the weeks to come. I'm not in a position to provide that to you now, but I still owe that to you as a follow-up from the September Professional Services Committee meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate you recognizing it. Thank you.
Okay, at this time, could I have a motion and a second to approve this?
Motion.
So, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, it is carried. Item B is a motion to recommend approval of service authorization to CDM Smith under the agreement for engineering consulting services. And this is regarding the solids thickening and dewatering improvements. And I'll turn it over to you, Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, the board awarded these services to CDM Smith at last month's board meeting. We have successfully negotiated a fee and have brought it back for the committee's consideration. I would ask the Director of Engineering and Construction, Kim, if you would just remind the committee what this project is about, how significant it is to our overall program.
Sure, thank you, Arletta. Solids thickening and dewatering improvements is an integral piece of the plant expansion. We're going to have more solids, and we have to have a way to process the new loadings with equipment that will provide us solid service for the next 30 years. So it was a quick turnaround, but it's a quick project. This equipment, it's a very process heavy project, and the equipment has very long lead time items. So we really had to like back that out and keep on a very aggressive schedule. So we were happy with the negotiations that took place with CDM. They cut the hours where we thought that they were appropriately and turned it around very quickly. So we feel comfortable to bring this to the board for your consideration today.
Okay, no questions? Motion and a second to approve, please.
Motion.
I believe that Dr. Gilliam is.
Second.
Yeah, she was trying to unmute to do that. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, carries. Item C is a motion to recommend the approval of service authorization to Hatch under the agreement for engineering consulting services for the Ohio River Tunnel construction management. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, another extremely significant component of the program. You awarded this in September. This is the return with fee. And again, Kim, the reminder, please.
Sure. So this is just for the pre-construction services. We think it's important to get the CM on board early for biddability, constructability reviews, helping us with outreach to potential contractors, a whole host of pretty serious and important activities until we're in a position to bid the Ohio River Tunnel in the middle of 2024. So this first phase for pre-construction services is design document reviews, bidding support, and then those additional pre-construction services to prep us to bid the biggest contract in the history of the authority in the summer of 2024. So worked very closely with Hatch to get here to this number. And we think it's appropriate just to kind of stick with pre-construction until we're in a position to bid and award the Ohio River Tunnel, and then look to them for their construction phase services with the inspectors and all of the other support that they'll provide during that construction.
If there are no questions or comments, could I have a motion and a second to approve, please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
It carries. Item D is a motion to recommend the awarding of the Allegheny River Tunnel Near Surface Facilities Package 6 project to DLZ and to authorize executive director to negotiate a fee. Ms. Williams.
Madam Chair, because the Allegheny River Tunnel would not want to be left out as the Ohio River Tunnel is receiving so much attention. It is really part and parcel of, again, so many moving parts of this program that, as you know, Madam Chair, have taken decades to come to fruition. This moves another significant piece forward and sets the stage for future work. Mike, if the Director of Regional Conveyance would speak to this. Mike.
Mike, unfortunately, is not able to.
Oh,
today,
that's
but-
great. I have no mic. So wait a minute, are we tagging Kim in?
Yeah.
Kim,
No,
you're in. How can I forget?
I believe Mike wanted Kim to.
Yes.
I'll take this one. So Allegheny River Tunnel Near Surface Facilities is being advanced because of the development called the Allegheny Shores Development. And we don't want to we want to work with those communities and those that development to be in a position, if they start to move, we want to put our infrastructure in there first. So this isn't moving up the schedule of the Allegheny River Tunnel, but it would build a fairly substantial consolidation piece that would be ready to tie into the Allegheny River Tunnel when we build that portion of it. And it's to, we don't want to, that development has been a long time in coming. And once it gets going, we don't want to, ALCOSAN doesn't want to come in and disturb any of the work that had just been put in. So the design will be done with a lot of coordination with the communities and the developer to make sure that we're all staying on the same page and mirroring our projects to provide efficiencies to all the stakeholders. We had shortlisted 3 firms and got proposals earlier in or late October, and then we actually held interviews for this project and really dug into the details. So we're very fortunate that we have such high quality, capable engineering firms in this region that can bid on this kind of work, because it's not easy. And we feel comfortable bringing the selection of DLZ to you today to recommend them move forward to the board for approval.
I want to commend you on this because, well, the whole time you were talking about it, it makes me think about a lot of the infrastructure work that's done. Someone comes in, they pave over the street, it looks lovely and wonderful. And 3 months later, somebody comes and digs it all up to do something else. We've often talked to some individuals in the past about why don't you coordinate your efforts so that you get it all done at the same time instead of doing that. So this is wonderful. And again, I commend you for getting this started so that it doesn't disturb the future work of the Allegheny Shores development. I appreciate it so much, just personally. Any questions or comments?
I just want to second that. Had that same conversation with other people, so just very glad to hear that.
Thank you very much.
Okay, motion in second, please.
Motion.
Dr. Gilliam, I'm assuming you're seconding it.
Yes, sorry, my exuberance.
Yeah, I know you keep muting. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's carried. Item E is a motion to recommend modification of service authorization 338 for MS Consultants for additional design, construction management, and inspection services for gates M45 and O34 under contract 1724. This has to do with flap gate replacement at various locations. Ms. Williams.
That it does, Madam Chair. Look at you digging into the finer details. And to further expound on those details, we will now tag in Tim Prevost, the manager of wet weather programs. Tell us about flap gates.
Sure thing, Arletta. Thank you, everyone. As you're probably aware, ALCOSAN's had several years of capital projects where we've replaced or put in new flap gates. The last major flap gate program that we did started in 2019. When they started that, one of the first things that our manager of interceptor systems realized was we needed one more flap gate into the contract. This was after we've already procured MS Consultants. So the O34 flap gate was an additional design scope that wasn't part of the original negotiation. And so this was for the design and also subsequent CM work for O34. And then M45, this was a large 8-foot by 8-foot flap gate that was going to be brand new on a river wall in Homestead. After taking a look at everything, they realized that the river wall needed to be analyzed. 8-foot by 8-foot flap gate is several tons of metal, and they wanted to be assured that that river wall, which has been there probably for 100 years since the steel mills were there, it could handle that type of stress. So with the new flap gate or the flap gate at 034 and the core sampling at M45, which was done by MS's subconsultant DLZ, we believe that the additional monies of $53,711 is not unreasonable whatsoever. And also, because this project is now closed out, the contract is now completed. Everything started before COVID. So COVID stretched this project out, and we're also asking for a bit of additional time to the end of this year so we could just close everything out nice and neat. If there are any questions, be happy to answer them.
I would just say, I don't think that anybody would deny you the time to get this finished out. It would be kind of silly, of course.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay, if there's no questions or comments,
Motion.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, Ms. Williams, that leaves us to all 5 items being recommended to the full board. And I see we have no new business. And our next meeting, we are going to adjourn. Our next meeting will be determined later as we move into the new year. So everyone, be safe the rest of the day. Thank you all for all your input and all the work that you do. And thank you, our board members, for being here and helping get this committee moving so that we can recommend all this to the full board. Thank you all.
Thank you, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you, guys.
Thank you,
All
committee.
right, thanks, everyone.
Take care.